Tabletopped will start after the following messages.
Are you looking for something comfortable to wear and keep your brain warm while playing tabletop games? Daily Dose of Yarn makes handmade, customized beanies for all of your style and comfort needs. She can even help you with a custom beanie to represent your favorite character. Check out Daily Dose of Yarn on Instagram and Etsy to order your new favorite beanie today.
Hi, Excursionist. I'm Nari. Why don't you join me at the Into the Night Anthology podcast? Bring a friend along when you find us on your favorite podcast directory, and make sure to follow us on Twitter at Into the Night Pod so you never miss an episode. Remember, you should never wander these twisted paths alone. In fact, look, the first path is just ahead. Are you ready? Follow me.
Amidst the wreckage and recovery from war, a new, secret war begins in the alleys, docks, gambling pits, and sewers of Aratai. A war of assassins, smugglers, crime lords for the underbelly of the city. Caught in this struggle, a bounty hunter and a thief for hire find themselves entrusted with the protection and life of a very special child. This is a story from the shadows of Aratai. Premieres November 12th on Dice Legends.
Welcome back, everyone, to our final Under the Bed this month. I hope you all enjoyed these bonus episodes. I know we enjoyed making them, and today we're going to cap it off with a very fun episode about the very first vampire, not Dracula, D&D vampire, Strahd. We talked last time about the Curse of Strahd, the module, how to run it, but this is about the character himself. I think you're really going to enjoy us talking about it, exploring what it means to embody this weirdo vampire. And everyone, next week on Monday, the Halloween day itself, we are talking to Emily Zarka of Monstrum. I hope you all really will just dig your teeth into it. It's such a cool interview. And we'll talk to you then. Enjoy this episode on Strahd. Welcome back, everyone. Halloween is just around the corner. You've heard about ghosts, goblins, ghouls, other monsters. We've talked about horror, running one-shots, and now we are going to talk about maybe the most famous monster in all of D&D, Strahd. What do you guys think? Is that true? Do we think that's true?
I said something, and is that okay?
I don't know if I would say he's the most famous monster, but he is within the community very well known.
I think that, yeah. I mean, you can't throw a rock at a D&D Twitter account without hitting Strahd at least 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, I mean, for sure.
I've lost so many phones that way.
All right, but first we should probably talk about who's here at the table with me. Of course, it's me, your host, Nick. I am super excited to talk about Strahd because I totally stole it from Daniel's campaign and ran my own version of his Strahd. So coming at it from that angle. What about you? Who are you right next to me?
I'm coming in from the angle beside you, and my name is Shade.
And across the way, through the mists, who is that?
It's Franco. I almost did Old Man Franco.
Yeah. Old Man Franco died.
Yeah, Old Man Franco burned down 7 years ago.
And who's that? Across the mist, but also to the right, not your right, my right. Who's that?
This is Daniel at Coronor. And we've all been in the same room since Monday, so this is, we're a little flighty.
Monday, December 22nd, 2002. Yes.
Yeah. We've been locked in this room. Please let us out. And now back to Strahd. He is the first vampire. He is Dracula, ripped off, incarnate.
Some say he inspired Dracula from the future.
All right, you know what? So,
Some say that Bram Stoker was playing D&D and was like, I could write a book about this guy.
All right. If we're going to shit on him like this, I'm at least going to do a little defending here. All right, Strahd, just for the record, was made by Tracy and Laura Hickman. And
Bram Stoker.
and essentially, back in the day when they were playing, I think 2nd edition at this point, they, it was the dungeons that are just filled with random monsters.
Yeah.
And one of them encountered a vampire, just a bag of hit points and nothing more. And she went, "Why the hell is this vampire here? Like, this vampire doesn't have any motives as compared to, the gelatinous cubes and things like that. This is just a weird thing to run through. This guy deserved his own thing." And so from there, Tracy and Laura began to build up Ravenloft, and that eventually helped them get into work with work on D&D professionally, and that's how Strahd came to be.
Can you imagine being like, man, this guy just doesn't have the motivational heft that the gelatinous cube has?
I guess what I meant is like, why is this guy hanging out with?
I guess that vampire is really.
I just want to throw a shout out. Tracy Hickman is the same person who co-wrote with Margaret West the Dragonlance campaign.
Right. Hell yeah!
And I'm not gonna miss a chance to bring up Dragonlance.
Fucking Dragonlance.
Not gonna miss a chance to bring up Dragonlance.
So everyone loves Strahd in the community. Can we talk about why? Why do people latch on to Strahd so much? People love to DM Strahd as well. At least in my experience.
You know how everyone. Let me not be absolutist. How like most everyone goes to sort of a goth phase in their teen years. And they discover D&D a lot of times in those same years. And here's this big goth hot topic daddy, who's just you form a bond in your developmental stages, and so Strahd just gets carried along from generation to generation.
I love that.
Strahdy.
Yeah. I don't think I can refute that. I didn't go through a goth phase myself, but
you missed out. It's
good
fun.
thing he said most everyone.
Yeah, exactly. And good thing I was going to correct you.
I would have looked like an idiot.
But no, I would agree. There's something appealing about about vampires in general, and especially those who are. It's the tragic romantic thing of this guy. You called him a zaddy, right? So I could fix him. I could fix Strahd, but you can't because he's a fucking monster who can't be fixed. That's the point of him. So it's kind of fun to have that.
The original goth fuckboy.
The original goth fuckboy. That's right. That's my new Twitter handle.
By the way,
you can't be the original.
No. That's how you at me now.
Can we talk a little bit about the history of Strahd when it comes to like in lore history? Like, what is his deal?
So it's changed a little bit over time, but right now, for the big thing is he used to be a really cool guy. It's always kind of been the case, but he was this crusader for good with like a trio. He was one of a trio of heroes, and essentially he kind of got corrupted by jealousy and his own
obsessive love.
Yeah. He fell in love with someone. She loved his brother. And like terrible incel that he is, he just was like, no, that's not cool, but I'm such a good guy.
Yeah, he ended up killing his brother.
Yep. Nice.
Which is what I think sealed his curse. And then he couldn't convince Irina to love him after that.
But I killed your boyfriend.
What else do you want from me?
He ends up killing her as well.
Yeah.
He kills her as well?
But the curse has already started, so now her soul is doomed to sort of just keep reincarnating down the generation. So he keeps reliving this love and loss.
Truly a problematic babe.
It really is. I mean, he is the first vampire, and I don't know if this is exactly. He's one of the more major dread lords, and there are these entities known as the Dark Powers that essentially pass judgment on specific people, but their judgment is inescapable and it is indiscriminate in that if you happen to be within a certain mile radius of that individual, you're part of the judgment. Sorry, your life sucks.
It's a bad AoE.
Yeah.
Do they talk about what the dark powers are at all, or?
No, that's sort of left to be sort of unknowable to sort of like keep the game, and progressing.
Or you know.
And I just want to like do a little quick, just a quick edit.
Yeah.
The love interest is Tatiana.
Oh, shoot,
and
right.
Irina is the current incarnation of Tatiana.
Spoiler
Thank
alert.
you. Thank you.
Spoilers.
Can you get her
Hashtag.
out? Is that the one you can?
That's
get
one
out?
of the quests you can do to like reunite her with Strahd's brother. And get them out of Barovia, which causes Strahd to immediately start targeting your party.
Yeah, you did that.
Yeah,
You did that. You did
felt
exactly
so
happen.
badass when it happened.
That was sick.
one of my highlights was actually succeeding that because I wanted to put it to that fucker so bad.
Yeah, that was great.
So let's talk a little bit about running Strahd, how you can run, and then the experience of like playing against Strahd too. So I can actually say a little bit about this, that Strahd can be transported into other systems and things like that. I used him in Monster of the Week because Shade's character from Daniel's Barovia game was teleported essentially through the dimensions into our Monster of the Week game through sort of his, overarching story with
Because
it.
I'm a special sentiment.
No, it was awesome. And so I was like, okay, he was the expert, and part of the expert was that there's this dark thing in his past that's starting to catch up with him. So I just made it so that when that portal happened and he walked through it and fell into this other reality, a small bit of Strahd also went through and was in this new world. And so I was playing him completely differently, apparently, than everyone else does, because I was like, he was the leader of the FBI.
He was a very different character, but I think that worked out well in that setting, and I believe you looked at the original stuff.
Totally. I looked at the stat blocks and everything, and I was like, okay, these are his powers. This informs what he can do. But what I really wanted him to make was like a manipulator. So he was somebody who had found that he couldn't figure out his way home without the powers of these other people. And he was like, okay, well, if I need a really powerful being to help me get home, I'll just go to the one that fucking killed me and make him help me get me home. And so he was like chasing Shade's character to like slowly figure out where he was and then help him get back. And so in order to do that, he had sort of corrupted and wormed his way into the FBI. And he was also, when he arrived, he was like, listen, you can kill me, that's fine. But the FBI is going to kill everyone in this town if you do that.
Which, true to life.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't
AVAB.
know how to continue on with that.
All
but,
FBIs are bastards.
All vampires.
Oh, I got you. I thought you said AFAB.
but yeah, if you're playing Strahd in a
it's
more
meant to be.
typical
Yeah.
situation, like his first power is he is tied into Barovia. He knows everything that's going on.
It's like a precon.
Yeah, the wolves, the birds, everyone reports to him. He knows who's there, where they're at all times.
Truly a bureaucrat.
Truly.
Just like when he ran the FBI.
So the first way, if you're running a Curse of Strahd game and you're trying to run Strahd, is he knows. In the one sort of situation as you can actually metagame information, because if it's happening in his domain, he can influence it. And he will know about it.
That's really funny that you said that, because that really does make it feel like
Yeah,
you
it's-
did
I
it
was like,
exactly
wow.
correct. It's like, wait, actually, no, this is exactly right.
His resume was perfect to apply to the FBI.
Yeah.
I mean, that's definitely his big thing. He also, he is a vampire, so he has all the basic vampire stuff. I'm actually trying to think, is there anything... He has legendary actions.
Obviously.
Yeah. And lair actions. And no, he actually doesn't have lair actions.
No lair actions.
Which is wild.
Well, because if you're fighting him in his castle, he should. So feel free to just add some extra lair actions onto Strahd.
Your
when
players
you're
will be
running
fine
in.
with it.
Right. Wizards
totally
will
fine.
send you the money for doing the work.
But a second thing, so Strahd knows everything while you're playing the actual campaign through Barovia. But when it comes to confronting him, what I did or tried to do, and might be a good rule of thumb, is that first he's a spellcaster. He's gonna manipulate, mind control, charm, and cast from afar, and then he's gonna get into the fisticuffs, the melees,
Ripping
once
them off
he's
with the claws.
once he's got a few people down from his spells, that's when he's going to put his actual self at physical risk. And then again, like you said, his legendary actions and whatnot, he has a lot of escape options. He could just flee and heal and come back later. So this could be like a campaign of attrition.
Yep.
He's got a legendary action that I stole for the Rakshasa that I ran for you guys. That he can just walk away from you without provoking any attacks of opportunity.
Yeah, his
He's
move.
like, okay, bye.
Yeah, like the first time I was reading Strahd's stat block, I was like, I don't know what this is. But then as you start, like, oh yeah, the ability to go through a character's like threat zone without provoking attacks of opportunity frees up so much time and effort and risk for a monster.
And it makes the sentry feat just useless.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's broken.
I mean, it's really badass though, because you can also narrate that. Like, he just walks by you, you try to take you let your players try and take an attack of opportunity if you want to be an asshole. And he could just be like, nope, I backhand your sword away as he continues his movement.
It could also be like, because he can turn into mist, right?
Yeah.
So it could just be like, yeah, he turns into mist and then moves,
Yeah.
It's just however you want to flavor it, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
One thing that I really liked to do, and it sounds like that in Curse of Strahd you can do this, is you can actually, whereas a lot of big bad evil people or whatever that you have to do, the party never really gets to interact with them really personally until the very end of a campaign. But with Strahd, you can put him in the players' lives consistently.
I made that effort because one of the things you can do when the party first arrives at Barovia is Strahd gives them an invitation and a carriage to his castle for a dinner.
And a bottle of wine.
And I added a little bottle of wine. I don't know if it was in the book or if I just did it for flavor.
Yeah.
But I was like, here's a bottle of wine. Here's a carriage. Come to my castle. We'll talk. And as soon as like they realize, oh, we're in Barovia, absolutely, we're not getting in a carriage. It was hard, so I had to have Strahd come on horseback a couple of times and sort of ambush the party with wolves and stuff as he like attacked from afar. Like he was like,
That's when we lost Milo.
yeah.
That was fucking terrifying because
Yeah.
like literally Strahd showed up and fought us. Yeah,
After we had a fight with
it was like on a mound,
the
right?
Druids.
It was on the mound. Yeah.
Yeah.
He just like showed up, lightning, like fucking blasted everywhere,
absolutely
and he
terrifying.
I don't think he attacked us, but he was there, and then there were monsters. There was like
He brought
wolves.
wolves.
Yeah.
He pretty much unleashed the hounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he was like, "I won't sully myself," because I don't think he attacked us, right?
No.
Right, because it was at that point where I wanted you all to feel afraid of him, but again,
Beneath
challenge your players, don't punish them for playing.
Yeah.
They couldn't have fought Strahd at that point, so
Well, especially because like it was literally just like I assume it was a random encounter, right? Or was it just like Strahd shows up
no,
and
like
messes with you?
you did something on the mound. I think you found one of like these gems that were important to like the plot. So he shows up to sort of like try to get that back or like get revenge because he had a plan going on the druids.
Okay.
But I've also heard people using him like a way that really stuck with me. I forget who it was. I was like listening to somebody talk about their experience with Strahd, and they had just done one of like the minor quests. I don't know which one, because I've never played Curse of Strahd.
It's probably better.
Yeah, but basically they were all at the campfire, like talking and taking a long rest, and Strahd just walked out of the shadows and was like, hey, sorry to interrupt your rest, but you kind of did this thing, and I'm nothing if not somebody who repays debts, and just broke one of the character's legs and then just walked away.
Oh. What the fuck?
Yeah, just to be like, stop fucking doing this stuff, guys.
I love
like
that.
That's great. It's like, what a power move.
That's insane.
And so like that's what I tried to do when I was playing him, is that Strahd isn't going to be somebody who like is going to try to kill somebody directly when he has the advantage, because he's just like thinks too much of himself. So when you guys met him in Lakewood, he had just like killed 2 people and he like threw the corpses across the room and was like, okay, so let's talk. We have to do some stuff together now. And then you guys were like, what the fuck? So yeah.
If you're role-playing Strahd, you definitely need sort of like that whole arrogance to come into effect, because he knows he's the biggest badass in the room.
Yeah. So what are his big abilities now that we've kind of talked about his personality, how to play him in different ways, even in a non-D&D setting? What are we've talked about basic vampire moves, he has legendary actions, but what is the thing that makes him so powerful that like people are scared to touch him until the very end of a campaign?
So initially, because Curse of Strahd in particular is meant to be played from like level 1, level 3 at the onset, he's just going to wreck you out the gates.
Yeah, his spells, you're not going to make your saves.
Yep.
There's going to be, you can't stop the mind control or the compulsions at a lower level.
Right.
Yep. It's also, as Daniel said, his domain, so there isn't really sunlight in the traditional sense. And with any vampire, the problem is always, how do you take this down for good? There's a billion ways that even if you did a stake to the heart for him, which is something that can incapacitate him, there's reasons that the stake might be removed because it is his domain and everything serves him. So one of his little servants could easily come along and go, "Oh, master, I see you've been staked again." Yoink. And now he's up again, and that's a problem. So finding the ways to hurt him, specifically the items that are built into the campaign, it's integral. You've got to make sure to have this.
You need the gear, is what's going to keep the players from going. I mean, you could go to the Castle Ravenloft directly from the time the campaign starts, level 1, and try. Yeah. I mean, dice or dice, 20s, you could get lucky.
Or you could do what I did and just let your players outsmart you.
Well, so, and the other thing is, because I said, how are you going to kill him? When he drops to 0 hit points, he has his Misty Escape. He transforms into a cloud of mist instead of falling unconscious, and then he fucks off, gets away from you.
Later, haters.
And just to throw this in there, he does indeed actually have layer actions.
Good.
Yeah,
okay.
I think he just might have missed those earlier.
Okay.
So, like, in his castle, he can summon ghosts. He can, like, lock doors.
There they are.
So as you're going through his castle, he can really fuck with your, like, ingress in various ways. And also, he has, and I don't want to get this wrong, but I know he has, like, a dark elf butler who's also, like, a swordsman who is, again, someone who could take that stake out or stop the party or just be, like, another threat.
This is another thing that I was talking to Shade like way back about, and I think it's kind of interesting to talk about here. Is a question that we often ask in Under the Beds is like, how would you use this character? Like, how would you use this monster in your setting? You actually can't really remove Strahd from the setting of Barovia, can you? You can't like just have a Strahd in your campaign.
You can do whatever you want, but it does kind of take away from the ambiance of using Strahd if he's not in Barovia, if he's just some vampire somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to be like, oh, this is Crow Heights. This is Crow Heights, and this is my vampire.
Jesus
Zod.
Christ! Now I have to write a Crow Heights because that's a Boston real life game if I've ever heard one. Crow Heights.
That was born on the mean streets. Anyway, no,
this is Donnie the Vampire.
We just found our first like merch line. Get your Crow Heights hoodie.
Oh man, we actually pay you for it.
Yeah,
anyway,
please let us pay you. These cursed items.
But yeah, I mean, so you could take the stat block, you could take all the ideas, you could put it in other things, but there's really no point in doing that. The domains of dread are meant to be separate from any. They're setting agnostic. They are themselves the setting, and they can leech on. They're demi-planes. They can leech on to any setting. So just do that. It is just terrifying to hear the idea that you have entered Ravenloft, you have entered Barovia, and you are looking at Strahd. Because even as a high-level character, I'm still going to be worried because for me, and I think we've said this a few times in this Monday that we have been here for millennia, this is a mastermind character. This is a character who can hurt you, but they puppet everything. and that is much more dangerous.
And I just had an idea. Feel free to, sit on it or take it or not. But if you do come into Barovia with a higher level party, give Strahd one of the items. If you see Strahd coming at you with the Sunblade, if you're a party of like level 12 or higher,
my God, no.
What are you going to do?
Run,
lie
down and die.
There you go. You've made him scary again. You want that sword? Take it from him.
I would modify it so that it's it's clearly the Sunblade, but like it no longer does sun, like it does Nick.
I was gonna say like you just give him like a sleeve with like a face guard, like one of those cool high jackets.
Like you haven't watched Castlevania, but
no
spoilers. There's a sun armor at one moment. It is so fucking badass.
I think I'm gonna do this again, but there's a ring in the Buffy the Vampires universe that will actually like allow a vampire to negate their vampire weaknesses. There's just one ring.
I think that's in what's that one show? It's the one that's
Vampire Diaries.
Yeah, I think that's on the Vampire Diaries too. Actually,
I also threw it in the Waterdeep campaign that one time with the.
Oh yeah.
I guess it's just collective unconsciousness. There's in every setting, there's one ring for the vampires to wear.
Yeah, there's a ring for the vampires to get around these things, just so that we don't have to deal with it now.
Because it's hard.
Because it's hard. We want the vampire to come out in the sunlight sometimes. Yeah. It's like, okay, sure.
You gotta have that beach episode, and you want to bring Strahd into it. You gotta have that ring.
Onsen episode with Strahd.
Hell yeah.
Hot springs.
Oh boy. But yeah, I really think having him be that mastermind, having him have his allies and his toys, that's going to be the thing that's always going to make him scary and drive up the, I think it's fine for you to kind of talk him up, and then for him to be a CR 15, which is questionable if it's really a 15 once you get all the good stuff. Talk him up, and if he doesn't quite deliver in the punches as much as you thought, that's fine. They still had all that time of being afraid, and they were going to feel like big damn heroes at the end.
Yeah, or just if it's not hitting the way you want, play it off like that's what he wanted them to think, and just pull him out, fix the stat block, pump up some numbers, and have him come back again.
Yeah, I think that it's fun. Strahd is fun because you can literally make him act any way you want, and then you can fall back on that kind of masterminding nature. Like, it'd be fun to make him sort of like come to the party as sort of like an NPC in disguise and like be helping them or whatever, and then when someone like finally recognizes him, or like you spend a whole time trying to like kill this guy who seems like super mean and trying to kill this NPC, and he's like, please help me, and then at the end it turns out that you just killed like the best vampire hunter in Barovia, and Strahd's like, hey, thanks guys.
Yeah, so there's a trope from the Gargoyles cartoon. I think it's the main antagonist there was like either Xander or Xavier. Tweet me. And it was like the trope is it was all part of the plan. So no matter what the Gargoyles did, or whether he succeeded or failed, whatever he was trying to do in every episode, at the end of it, it was always part of his plan that's what they were supposed to have done, and he always won no matter what happened. Definitely use that trope with Strahd. No matter what your players do, just be like, oh yeah, that's what Strahd wanted you to do.
It's sort of like Tzeentch, the Chaos God in Warhammer, that's like all about like manipulation and change. Is that part of the lore? It's so stupid, but part of the lore is that he has a bunch of plans that like ruin his other plans so that the game can keep going like that, so that like the war keeps going because he doesn't want it to end. So he's like, I'm gonna make these plans to fuck with these plans and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, I think that's what they've said in a couple of articles that I've read about Thanos.
Yeah,
is that he's unbeatable and he's a brilliant strategist, but he always fails because he wants to fail. So you could throw that in there too. Like there's some little like,
boo this man.
So it was really I needed to know that it's David Xanatos. I needed it. Who honestly
head and shoulders Xanatos.
Yeah, you could take him and just make him Strahd. Just visually, you could take
Let's
the
do
drawings.
a Gargoyles campaign in Barovia.
A Gargoyles Disney Princess campaign set in Crow Heights, Boston.
What was I? Disney Princess Strahd, by the way, because it occurs to me that he does have all the beasts at his side, right? He's definitely a Disney princess.
Yeah.
Right? Like he's just,
classic incel babe. Disney
He's a
princess.
Cinderella.
Yeah.
Poor Strahd, just wanting to be a prince.
You don't want to hear my rant on what it takes to be a Disney princess. It's at least 20 minutes long. At this point.
You're right. We should probably wrap this up. All right, everyone. Last things about Strahd. Anything that we haven't mentioned yet?
No, I think we've really covered it.
Yeah.
One minor thing too. Remember, Strahd also has an artifact that absorbs damage.
Ooh, that's
So be sure to include that into your encounters, where he just ignores the first 50 points of damage that he takes.
Oh yeah.
And it recharges at dawn. So like, if they don't kill him,
Fuck that guy, man.
That sucks.
All right.
my God.
Let's put this vampire Zaddy back under our bed.
All right, get him in there. Just
Night,
throw him
Zaddy.
under. Good night. Bye.
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 Well, there you have it, another episode of Tabletops come and gone. If you like the show, you can support us by liking the podcast and giving us a 5-star rating on Apple iTunes. You can also leave a review, always helps. You can also come to our website at tabletopod.com or go to our Patreon if you want to financially support the show at patreon.com/tabletopped. If you're interested in buying some ad space with Tabletop, send us an email. You can either go to our website and hit the contact form there, or send us an email at tabletoppodcast@gmail.com. Enjoy, everyone, and we will see you next Monday for another episode of Tabletopped.